Well, I look forward to utilizing the power to nominate people who aren't going to be releasing all these cop killers. And as these opportunities present themselves, to nominate individuals who are highly qualified to serve on the parole board, who understand that there are victims and victims' families. They are sensitive to victim impact. They want to consider the testimony. They want to improve communications with these victims and victim families. They will commit to considering much more deeply and thoroughly the feedback, the testimony provided. I believe that there's going to be a change of law required in order to give power to victims and victims' families to be able to appeal these decisions. I believe that Alice should have the power to appeal this decision. That the pending release in the coming days should be stayed so that the consideration is given to Alice's and her family's testimony about why they believe that this person should not be released. That's going to require a change of law. So part of this is going to be the power to nominate individuals to fill these seats. Those are some of what I'd be looking for, of the qualifications and considerations in choosing somebody. And in some respects, this is going to require change of law. It's also going to require change of law to change it from a majority vote to a unanimous vote. And we're just going to have to work this entire process. This isn't something that on day one, all of a sudden the parole board is just overhauled and the laws are changed. It's going to require some work in the coming months. Hey, I think that it would be a highly unpopular position that would be contrary to the will of the people if the state legislature was to reject my nominee because they are supportive of law enforcement, to reject my nominee because they want to give more consideration to victims and victims' families, if they aren't anti-law enforcement enough, and that's going to be their grounds for going after a nominee, I think that is a position that would result in very predictable, massive, well-earned backlash.
I got a question here.
Oh, Melissa, go ahead. So I do not have the breakdown of the vote. Usually it's not a full parole board hearing. It's usually, I think, 3 members that get to hear the case. I don't know that they notified the family, which again, that's shameful in and of itself. The family should certainly be notified of the members of the parole board that voted on this, as well as what the actual vote was. But look, this is about leadership, all right? And Kathy Hochul has now had a year plus in as governor, and every time she gets questioned, she either answers by saying, "Oh, I don't know," or "Not my responsibility," or "Oops." It's a joke. It's an absolute embarrassment. Show a backbone, have some courage of your own conviction, and speak out. She certainly knows how to speak out on some of these woke progressive issues that she seems so comfortable talking about, but she can never seemingly find the courage to speak out on behalf of law enforcement and victims. People are dying in the streets because of her cashless bail policy that she has doubled down on. People are dying in the streets because of the loopholes in Raise the Age, where 16 and 17-year-olds are using guns. She talks often about gun violence, but never wants to do a goddamn thing about anybody who actually uses a gun in the commission of a crime. It's pathetic. So if we want to get serious, it requires courage. Speak up. Speak out.
So I don't know the vote. I just asked some of the others who are here, and we don't know what the vote breakdown was. As far as, I'll get you next, I promise. As far as the appointees, Kathy Hochul was the #2 ranking person in the state starting January of 2015. So this is now a period of almost 7 full years that she has been either the governor or lieutenant governor in this state. She owns all of this. If there's any record at all of her opposing any members of the parole board, any record of her advocating against these cop killers being released, I'm not aware of it. Any record of her calling for the vote to be changed from majority unanimous, I'm calling for it. I'm not sure that she's ever done it. So this idea that Kathy Hochul became the governor in August of 2021, and before that, she was just Jane Citizen, is divorced from the reality that she was the lieutenant governor, the number 2 in the state. There's one a century ago. Officer DeMatt was responding to a call for somebody who was stuck on the tracks. He saved a life moments before he gave up his own. Not to date myself, but it's important for this story, as I wasn't born for about 4 more years after this had taken place. And for anyone who's watching your story, reading your story, who's out there, who maybe wasn't even alive. You look like you're under 46 too. There's a few of us who are here. At the request of Arthur's family, I think that's a very important thing to get out in the coverage, is that Arthur saved that life moments before giving up his own.
There's much talk about victims here, the victims of these crimes. There's a bill before Congress now regarding the cashless bail situation by Representative Maliotakis, which would waive the sovereign immunity in a state that has cashless bail, where victims could sue the state. Do you support that bill?
I don't even know if that should require a bill. I understand that there's a need for legislation to change the law to make it clear. Listen, I understand the need for the bill. Okay, I get that. There is a consequence to some of these states' decisions. The change in law has resulted in, last Wednesday, 1 week ago today, a woman was murdered in front of her 3 kids just outside of Buffalo by her husband, who was released the day before due to cashless bail. The judge did not have discretion to weigh dangerousness. If that judge did, that husband wouldn't have been released. The mother was found with a bulletproof vest on when she was murdered a day later. She had told everyone, listen, if you release him today, last Tuesday, he is going to murder me. The next day, she was killed in front of her 3 kids. I believe that there should not be these cashless bail releases, period. I'm running for governor of the state of New York. I'm running to change the law of the state of New York. I currently serve in Congress. I appreciate the efforts on the part of members of Congress who want to fill a void created by a lack of leadership and courage up in Albany. But my position is that Congresswoman Maliotakis, when she is getting to the majority in January, doesn't have to pass a bill, because we up in Albany are doing the right thing to just change the law.
So you don't believe that the federal government should intervene in the criminal justice system in New York?
Yeah. Well, just quickly here, just to that point, so because I think the congressman has been quite clear that his position is that when he is governor, this matter will be moot, because we will have a New York state that actually takes care of the issue. Specifically to your question about what Congress should be doing, let us be very clear. The biggest bat that you have in D.C. is the power of the federal purse. Every one of these hamster experiments that they want to run on the people of New York State and the people of America require our tax dollars. And so the solution is quite clear. If you want to defund your police departments, if you want to cook up any random number of ideas, come to us with the data that shows that that is going to keep people safe. It is not actually a political stunt. Absent of that data, we at the federal level have the power to withhold the dollars, and you'd be shocked by how many local municipalities and how many states, sure, we could stop having these silly conversations that are not silly, because people are dying. In the middle of COVID, 100% of the people that were shot and killed in New York City were black and brown victims. My hometown of Yonkers went from being one of the safest big cities to now, again, murder is on the rise, officers are being shot. So yes, victims need to have rights. Any law we can pass to give them recourse, to make sure that the politicians know accountability is coming, is a good thing. But I think, as the congressman has said, the thing that we need to do in New York today is elect leadership on the 8th of November that will ensure that we no longer have to have people at the federal level parsing this nonsense.
Terry, go ahead.
Yeah,